Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Encounter program sponsored by the Broome County Council of Churches. I'm your host, Mark Kimpland, the pastor at the Endwell United Methodist Church. It's hard to believe that it is October already. Kids are back at school and we're all into our full swing of fall activities. But October for us means one thing, that the Redbird mission is in full swing here in New York State. And I am just absolutely thrilled to have with us this morning a few of the mainstays of this mission this year. And I first want to introduce our guests. First is Tracy Nolan. She comes to us directly from the Redbird mission, and she is the Community Outreach Director. Tracy, it is great to see you again, and I hope you are well.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Mark.
We also have with us two volunteers from the Endwell United Methodist Church. First, Tom Scheibner, who has made this trek to the Redbird mission for several years, and we'll be hearing from him. Tom, glad you are with us. And also Jim Short, who is also a member of the Endwell United Methodist Church. I believe, Jim, you're making your second trip down there in December. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Fantastic. So we'll have three minds here talking about the Redbird mission and the wonderful work they do. So I'd like to begin first with Tracy. Tracy, if you could just spend some time and kind of share the mission, the vision of this ministry, because there are those that are listening to this broadcast and also watching it live, via their televisions and such that may know a great deal about it. But some are like me, maybe about 7-8 years ago. I didn't know a whole lot about the Redbird mission. I just knew that they were offering envelopes on a table in the back of churches. That's all I really knew. So could you share with our viewers and listeners about the Redbird mission and the vision and the focus?
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. Redbird Mission was founded in 1921. We are still going strong because we serve in southeastern Kentucky, primarily Bell, Clay, and Leslie counties in the heart of Appalachia here in Kentucky. And so to understand why we're still here and why there's still the need to be here, one, we need to emote the love and hope that Jesus Christ presents and be the church, hands, feet, serving the people, sharing his love and good news, but also the provisions, basic human needs, advocating for basic human rights here in southeastern Kentucky, and give you an idea of what it's like for the people here. I wanted to share that about 36% of the population is at 100% poverty level or below, which is extremely low.
Yeah.
26% of the clients that we serve under the age of 65 have some type of a disability. 72% of the children are low income, 200% poverty or below. And then the high school rate is right around 68%. So Redbird does tremendous good here in this community still. We have preschool through 12th grade education, focusing on helping these children not only graduate, but become leaders in the community, go on to college or vocational, come out with work-ready certificates. We've expanded our STEAM programming. We've also opened up a daycare over the last year because there was barriers to parents going back and getting work opportunities in the community, because there have been work-ready scholarships. There have been more vocational opportunity for even the older adults. And so we want to help them be able to take advantage of that. But there's so much more that Redbird does. We have a dental clinic. We also lease out a primary healthcare clinic to Advent Health. We have work camp programs because a lot of the homes are substandard. They need a lot of work. The families have not been able to afford to keep up the maintenance. And so we're going in and weatherizing. We're going in and doing roof repairs, shoring up foundations so they don't get condemned and they can continue to stay in their homes. We do aging programming. So we have a senior citizen center. It's open 5 days a week with Meals on Wheels going out, home care, personal care, respite services. And senior center, we provide transportation to bring seniors in 3 days a week for socialization, bingo size, freedom from smoking. Of course, they're doing the quilting and the crafting and all the things that are good. But in southeastern Kentucky, if you've never been to Clay County, it's one of the largest landmass counties, but it is so broke up by the Daniel Boone National Forest that people are really far away from one another. And so the isolation can be devastating to older adults. And this is an incredible community to live. The people are loving, the people serve God, the people take care of their family. And so you're going to see a lot of generations within one home. You're going to see a lot of aging in place. And it can be challenging when you don't have supports. You know, the nearest store, the nearest hospitals are an hour, 2 hours away for specialists. So that's why Redbird's here, you know, and we also have a clinic to help address the healthcare needs. And then Endwell United Methodist Church has been partnering with Redbird Mission since 2015 to help meet those basic needs. So Christmas assistance, of course, we love the joy of Christmas. But also for me, I'm a registered nurse. So for me, it means getting basic healthcare needs, soap, shampoo, you know, when they come into the food pantry, they don't only ask for food. They're asking for other things: laundry detergent, toilet paper, deodorant, shampoo, soaps, toothpaste. And that's what this brings. And so it has been a privilege to work with Endwell. The last thing I wanted to mention was the expansion to help us better meet our vision. And Redbird Mission's vision is building healthy, sustainable communities in southeastern Kentucky. And so one of the key pieces that has happened in the last year is we have built partnerships with mental health, behavioral health, and substance use disorder. So practitioners are physically coming on site to Redbird Mission to offer these counseling services, these peer support and case management services. And so the individuals that have been coming to our food banks over the years, coming in and needing help every month, are finally in a better place because they have the supports they need to get the counseling help, the medication they need. And so I see less evictions, I see less hospitalizations, less ER visits. So we truly are seeing a healthier, more sustainable community. And I just want to thank all these partners for making this happen.
Yeah. You know, as I hear you share the mission and the vision, I mean, this is the definition of a multi-dimensional ministry that relates to the whole person. And that's just exciting because so many ministries are kind of piecemealed. You know, we do a little of this, we do a little of that, but I applaud the Redbird Mission for the totality of the human being and the whole person. So wonderful. That's just great to hear. And one of the exciting aspects of this, and I thank you for sharing about the Endwell United Methodist Church, who is connected to the Upper New York Conference of the United Methodist Church. And it's been exciting to see the conference and this 700, 800 churches in this conference kind of come together and meld together for a common vision and a common purpose. And Tom, I'd like to pick your brain for a second because you have traveled all over the state, literally. Have traveled all over the state over the past few years and into Pennsylvania to connect with churches and to pick up a lot of things that they have and form relationships. Can you speak a little bit about that, about those trips to the churches and their enthusiasm and maybe what you've learned from them and the connectionalism that we have because of this mission?
Absolutely. The people are amazing in joining in the ministry for Redbird. they're all just tickled to death of how they wanting to do it and the details of how they will help meet the goals that we try to get to bring the 2 trucks down. And also there are churches outside the Methodist community that have joined in.
Absolutely.
And they're just as important as the rest of the crew. And they are so enthused. You just can't believe when they want to help what they try and do. And even tiny churches join in and do what they can do. And there's no amount of help that's too small, because you need a lot of small churches to help in the end result. Everywhere we travel that people find out we're in the ministry of God to help a community down in Southeast Kentucky whose problems are compounded by separation and travel restrictions and all that. And it's amazing, these new programs Tracy was talking about, how they're trying to get help closer to that community instead of having to travel out of the counties to areas that are very difficult to get at. I've seen that in our community, but the distance is so much smaller.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's just a burden at all. It's a joy to be with these people. There's many stories of within New York and out of New York of people that find out we're headed for Redbird. So that in general is the New York story.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hear there's many diner stories, but we might get to them in another program. When people know what you're doing and where you're heading and such things. Jim, can you share? Last year was your first year down there, and I think you bring an interesting perspective to this. Can you just kind of share what you saw, what you felt, what your ahas or epiphanies were? You kind of heard the stories. But being right there and taking the trip down and seeing, seeing the situation and assessing it, what spoke to you? What was it that touched your spirit?
Well, I think the start is, you've got 2 faces here that are representing the effort, within the Endwell United Methodist Church and the Upper New York and Northern Pennsylvania churches in the Northeast. And probably not the prettiest 2 faces that you could have picked. But behind us is the, within the Endwell United Methodist Church is, probably 50 to 60 people that are physically and financially supportive of this mission within our church. And then the hundreds to maybe thousands of people that go out in the spider web across both New York and Pennsylvania to bring this together, and the huge effort that it does take to get 2 24-foot trucks pulled together with supplies to head to southeastern Kentucky. So I'd been involved a little bit in the background of loading trucks and that type of thing, and retired last year and was looking for an opportunity to volunteer to make more of an impact. And going back to my military days, Dave and Tom knew I could drive a big truck, so I was put in the driver's seat and launched south. You drive, the 12 to 16 hours of interstate highways to get down there and through some of the bigger cities and things. And then you pull off the interstate into some back roads into Kentucky. And that's where you really see that, what Tracy and Tom and other people have talked about by being there. As you drive down these country roads and 1-lane bridges and, off the sides of cliffs and type of things, you can see how isolated the people are. And it's funny, I saw a dichotomy, and maybe Tracy, you can talk to that too, but I did see some very nice homes where it looks like people have come in and built homes, and then others that you can tell are people that are really in need, in that dichotomy that's in that area. And then you cross a little winding creek and you come into this camp, and it is truly looks like a camp from the outside, of a support facility where people are so wonderful. to want to be able to reach out into their community and make a difference. And as Tracy talked about, I had this vision of a big warehouse and people pull up and they take away these little totes of hygiene equipment. But this mission down there has a health facility. It has a dentist facility. It has a school. It has certainly a warehouse with clothing. People coming up in the need, a coffee shop. And a very well-run, well-organized mission to do outreach. And then to see the people in need that are coming forward and know a little bit about the community and know some of the background of the community and going back in Americana and the coal industry and all the hardworking people that have done that. But really what touched me too is the young volunteers that are at the Redbird. AmeriCorps volunteers and interns and actually some older folks, some folks that are retired like Tom and us that go down and spend a summer with the Redbird, helping out moving people. And then to talk to some of the people that have been around 1 or 2 years that started out as an AmeriCorps volunteer and that now are part of the full-time staff at the Redbird, and the experience that they have working and supporting the mission. I saw this originally as a truck getting loaded with a lot of totes that we kind of helped out on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was great to see that vision of how much more and those little things about toothpaste and a toothbrush and maybe a $20 donation to this ministry. And then to see what it turns into, as you drive up a country road in Kentucky. I think that's what's blessed my heart about this mission.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. And Tom, thank you both for sharing that. One of the things that touches my heart is, you're exactly right. I mean, there are just dozens and dozens of people behind the scenes. Thankful to Dave Alexander, who many years ago stepped up and said, "Yes, we'll do this." But to the people, I know, Tom, the trucks have returned at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night in the cold, and they have to offload it. And Cheryl and her team wrapping all of the boxes together, and doing this in the cold and in a place by themselves many times, doing this work. So our hat goes off to all of the folks that are behind the scenes. Tracy, it is always, I do want to introduce you all one more time for those that are here. I am honored to have with us today Tracy Nolan, who is the Community Outreach Director for Redbird Mission, and also Tom Scheibner and Jim Short, who are also volunteers from the Endwell United Methodist Church to the Redbird Mission. Tracy, I always want to make sure that my guests get enough time to share what it is they want to share. But is there anything that you would specifically say to the person that's tuning in right now that would inspire them to do something? Because I think this show serves a really important purpose in the southern tier of New York State, where, yes, we're here to give information, but that information also hopefully inspires people to do things. So the person that's hearing about this, what would you hope that they would take from this, and how could they respond faithfully? Because we're about, I don't know, 2 months away from heading back down your way. So I'm going to let you take the floor for a few moments and share your thoughts on that.
Thank you very much. I just want to say, for everyone that's listening, you can make a difference. It does not matter how small. We serve clients every day that are in extreme poverty, and the needs are great. And a lot of times what they need are consumable. And so even though I might have things this month, I may not have them next month to serve. And the shoebox you bring is one piece, but it's all the different partnerships that we have. So when a family comes, they're not only going to get the shoebox that's got the hygiene things and maybe a toy or something lovely or a devotion for the child, but they're coming in here to our food bank and they're going to get a Christmas dinner also. And we partner with Souls for Souls, so they're also going to get a pair of shoes for their child. So it really is holistic. And we were short a couple of weeks ago on deodorant. Someone sent one box full of deodorant. I had someone from the elderly apartment complex contact me last week. He ran out of money. He couldn't afford dishwashing liquid. Guess what came in yesterday? A box of dishwashing liquid. So it's just the small things. You think it may not matter. Oh, is this gonna make a big difference? It is. You might be the one that the Lord has put this conviction to do something, to take action today. It doesn't have to be large. We start just like Mark was saying. October is huge for Endwell United Methodist Church, but also for Redbird Mission. I have 8 volunteers this week hand packing Christmas right now. And last year we served over 3,200 children between hand packing Christmas needs and the shoe boxes. But all year long, we are collecting the items that individuals or churches. We've got a church right now working on an underwear collection because I am missing many sizes. So when a child needs that, I want to be able to provide that. I've got another church that's working on some sports equipment. So in the child's box I'm packing, I could give them that basketball they're asking for. Or that fishing pole, because down here in southeastern Kentucky, we don't go to the movies and do a lot of those things. We go hunting, we go fishing, we spend time with our families, we go up in the hills. I just want to say thank you for those that have been participating in this ministry. I encourage you to continue. We are still making differences in people's lives. We are sharing God's love, His word, and we are improving the lives here through the education programming, through the basic needs services, through our aging services, through our dental clinic. Making healthier smiles. We're working with rehab and recovery centers, both men and women. And so we're helping them come in and get the dental care they need, get the dentures that they need, and help them get employment. So I appreciate Jim talking about the differences in our community. Of course, mining has been very prosperous in the past. And so you're going to see some really nice homes. Or through the education system, you're going to see some superintendents and others' homes. Mining is all but gone here. And so we, in the last, I'd say 5 years, have been seeing persons that had excellent incomes coming to our food banks, where their trucks are being repossessed, they're losing their homes. And COVID was horrible for people being laid off, losing jobs. But we're seeing rebuilding now. There is hope. We're seeing people get work again. And Redbird Mission is one of the bigger employers in this area. We employ between 80 and 90 at any given time. Of course, it's missionary pay, but it's good work, good honest work, helping one another. And just like Jim was saying, we invest in each other. We had AmeriCorps workers that went on and got a job here. We encouraged her to go back to school. She did. And now she's a licensed social worker practicing in Pineville. Awesome. We also invested in our 2-year nurse. She went back to school. She's now practicing in Hayden. She's a nurse practitioner. So it is all about furthered education and helping the community grow, be healthy, sustainable. So I just appreciate everyone being a part of this, and it takes you to make this happen. Redbird Mission does not have the funds to provide any of this without these partnerships.
Thank you. That I can't imagine anyone listening or hearing this and not being inspired by that, Tracy. I just it's marvelous to hear success stories. It's just it warms the soul. We have about 4 minutes left or so, I think. But I'd like to just, if Tom and Jim could take a minute or so and just kind of get your head around this scenario. There was a time you did not know about Redbird Mission, or knew very little about the Redbird Mission. Now, you know a whole lot about it. Is there any words of wisdom that you can share with our viewers and our listeners and such things about what you've learned? About what is it that truly inspires you from the time that you didn't know much to the time where you are now? Tom, could you just touch on that for a minute or so?
Sure. One of the things that I've really learned about Redbird is the awesome amount of people that are involved supporting you. The whole eastern half of the United States, if you read through their Facebook page, come at many different times to support the camp, to support the missions. And it's such a great thing, because who wants to leave their home just because they can't survive in Eastern Kentucky?
Right.
That's their home. They don't want to leave. Their family's here, there. And it's such a great thing when you see their faces light up when they're getting the help. The people that support them and that we see in our travels just love that we're headed for southeastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
So what I learned is it's a vast organization that Tracy is a part of, and it's needed. And every time somebody does something, there's still 10 times as much to help with.
Yeah.
So it will never end the support that they need. It may be less critical for the urgent needs, but there's always help for no jobs.
Yeah.
That's needed.
Yeah.
So pretty much
Thank
the
you.
overall operation is.
Yeah.
I've
Thank you.
learned
That is very helpful. Jim, can you take a minute and share your thought about what you've learned?
Yeah, I think in general, I viewed the Redbird mission as a a fellowship and a mission that we've taken on in the October-November timeframe, and the upstate New York and northern Pennsylvania area, and certainly had enjoyed the fellowship with the volunteers and the other churches, and the time with that. But one thing that I've done is I've gone out to their social media and have friended them on Facebook, and I've gone out to the website and Instagram. And I would encourage anyone who's watching this today to go out and do that. And now I connect. It may not be, with my labor or my dollars, other than this time of year, but throughout the year, you at least are educated on what they're doing and what events they have, and their Halloween and their Christmas and their food pantry and their medical times. So throughout the year, I get the alert or a story coming from them that brings that connection back to my heart throughout the year, rather than just the month and a half or so that we're putting the extra effort in to get this done. So encourage anyone out there to go ahead and link with them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I would encourage also, if you want additional information, to go to the endwellumc.org website also and just click on the missions tab. And it has lots of information about the Redbird mission also. Tracy, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning, all the way from Kentucky. Blessings on your ministry, and we send our love and prayers, and we're going to be sending 2 trucks down real soon. And so we're thrilled that you are with us. And Tom and Jim, thank you for all that you're doing to make this a reality. One of the greatest joys of my ministry is going around the conference and places that I do, and I tell them where I'm from, and they say, that's the Redbird Church. And yes, it is, and a whole lot more. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank all of you who have gathered together to share in this time together. And please do all that you can to support this vital and important work of the Redbird mission. Have an awesome day. God bless.